The story of Voyager 1 is not just a mission of science but a journey into the absolute unknown that has lasted for nearly 5 decades. It began in 1977 when NASA launched 2 twin spacecraft on a grand tour of the outer planets, but while Voyager 2 took a different path, Voyager 1 was destined to become the furthest human-made object in history, moving at a speed of over 38,000 miles per hour. It has traveled billions of miles away from our warm sun and into the freezing darkness of interstellar space. For years everything was going according to plan as the probe sent back breathtaking images of Jupiter and Saturn, revealing moons and rings that we had never seen before in such detail. But as it crossed the boundary of our solar system known as the heliopause, something shifted. The environment became different, the radiation levels changed, and the silence became louder than ever before. NASA scientists knew that eventually the spacecraft would run out of power because its nuclear battery is slowly decaying every year, but they did not expect what happened in late 2023 when the spacecraft suddenly stopped sending coherent data. Instead of the usual packets of scientific information, it started transmitting a repetitive and nonsensical string of binary zeros and ones that made no sense to the flight team at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Imagine the tension in the room as engineers stared at their screens watching a machine they had built 50 years ago talk back in a language that seemed broken or perhaps altered by something in the deep space void. At first they thought it was a simple memory glitch or a bit flip caused by a stray cosmic ray hitting the old computer systems, which are less powerful than the chip inside a modern car key. But as weeks turned into months, the problem persisted and the mystery grew deeper. Because the spacecraft is so far away, it takes over 22 hours for a signal to reach Earth and another 22 hours for our commands to reach the probe. This 44-hour delay made the troubleshooting process incredibly slow and painful. The engineers had to dig through ancient paper documents and blueprints from the 1970s to understand how the original flight software was written, because the people who designed it had long since retired or passed away. They were fighting a ghost in the machine trillions of miles away, trying to fix a computer that was older than the internet itself. The theories began to circulate among the scientific community about what was actually happening. Some suggested that Voyager 1 had entered a region of space where the laws of physics or the density of interstellar plasma were affecting the hardware in ways we never predicted. Others wondered if the intense radiation outside the protection of the sun's magnetic field had finally fried the core processing unit. But there was a more haunting thought that whispered in the back of everyone's mind: what if Voyager 1 had encountered something out there that we are not ready to understand yet? As the team worked tirelessly, they decided to send a poke command to the spacecraft to force it to send back a readout of its entire software memory. And this is where the story takes an incredible turn. When the data finally arrived, it was still scrambled, but a brilliant engineer noticed that one single frame of data contained a hidden code that was different from the rest. It was like a secret message buried within the noise. They realized that a single chip responsible for storing a portion of the permanent memory had failed, and the spacecraft was trying to bypass that broken part, but it was lost in a loop of logic that kept it from communicating clearly with Earth. NASA had to invent a new way to move the software code to different parts of the memory system without crashing the entire probe. It was like performing open-heart surgery on a patient who is on the other side of the galaxy using a remote control that has a 2-day delay. After months of silent struggle and failed attempts, the team finally sent a complex set of commands to relocate the vital code, and then they waited. The silence in the mission control room was heavy as the clock ticked away the hours needed for the signal to travel back. When the first clear data packet finally hit the deep space network antennas in Spain, the room erupted in cheers. Voyager 1 was back online, and it was talking to us again. It told us about the magnetic fields and the cosmic rays of the interstellar medium, giving us data that no other machine can provide. But even though the glitch was fixed, the mystery remains about how much longer this lonely messenger can survive. Its power source is dropping by 4 watts every year, and NASA has to turn off its scientific instruments one by one just to keep the heaters running so the electronics do not freeze solid. Eventually, in the next few years, the last spark of power will fade and Voyager 1 will become a silent tomb of human history, drifting forever among the stars, carrying a golden record that contains the sounds and images of our world. In case anyone or anything ever finds it in the distant future, it is a reminder that we are a curious species that dares to reach into the dark even when we know we might not get all the answers. The story of Voyager 1 is a testament to human engineering and our desire to know our place in the cosmos. As it moves further into the unknown, it carries our hopes and our dreams into a future where we may no longer exist, but our message will still be out there floating in the eternal night.